Hello, everyone. So, we've reached the last topic of this unit, which is the adulthood and old age. So, firstly, let's understand, who's an adult. So, an adult is generally defined as someone who is responsible, mature, self supporting, and well integrated into society. So, for today's topic, I have just, listed down a couple of points. I'm just going to give you the gist of this topic so that it's made simpler and easier to understand and, of course, to comprehend. So, when we talk about adulthood, of course, they do undergo this transition from becoming really dependent to somebody more independent, and so these young people are the ones who are going to show a lot of independence, especially when we talk about career and their work life, and of course even in terms of their marriage, and then it comes the parenthood, then their families, so there is going to be a transition coming from dependence to independence, and so this is all about what the person basically wants, what is the kind of life the young person desires, what does he want, especially when it comes to his building of career, when it comes to getting married, settling down. So when we talk about career and work, it's all about earning a living, it's all about choosing an occupation. And when in the process of all of this, they are going to have major adjustment issues, when it comes to really proving your own competence, to really be able to cope up with the expectations of other people, and of course to live up to your own expectations. So there are going to be a lot of these adjustments also being made. There'll be too many apprehensions also coming ahead, so setting up of course new roles, taking up of new responsibilities, and so this actually becomes a major part, especially when they have to understand their new roles and taking up responsibilities. It plays a very very important role when it comes to their own career and work. And when we talk about, the second aspect, which is the marriage, parenthood, and of course the family, it's talking about, how at times it can be really tough for people who get into arranged marriages where they don't really know the person concerned they're getting married to. So they have to first try to get to know the person, and then they need to try to cope up with the tastes, the choices, the likes and the dislikes of the person. So there is a bit of an adjustment again that they are trying to make. And so too many adjustments that they will have to kind of try to make, and these adjustments are required, when you have to really perform certain roles and responsibilities at home. You need to kind of even at times share your roles and responsibilities when you are in a marriage, and then of course when we talk about in addition to this, we have the parenting, where in terms of parenting, it's all about uh, how do you basically experience parenting, and the kind of experience which you derive when you're in the process of becoming parents. So you've become parents finally. It all comes down to the diverse situations, how different situations are around you, and it all depends from person to person. We really cannot generalize the journey of parenting for everybody. We cannot universally say that everybody goes through the same kind of journey. No, it essentially depends on the kind of situations around you. It depends on the diversity of circumstances around you. So it could be like, whether you're a single parent, whether you've had a divorce, whether both of you are working, where there's one person working, or maybe there's been a kind of a family discord, so of course all of these things are going to influence that what is the parenting going to be like, what experience are you going to have of parenting, and Of course, then you have, when we talk about the physical changes, we do have a lot of physical changes also coming up. There are marked by maturation. So, physical changes will be marked by maturation. And there's going to be a very gradual deterioration, in certain aspects. So certain physical aspects, if you see, the physical functioning of certain aspects is going to deteriorate, when it comes to vision, when it comes to hearing, when it comes to, even your physical appearance. You see gray hair, you see wrinkles, your hair begins to thin. Even some people gain weight. So of course, again, we cannot generalize it for everyone universally, but these are the basic physical changes which ultimately, at a certain age, we all go through. We all have to go through this. And in terms of cognitive development, of course, when we talk about memory, especially, that actually to an extent begins to decline. And the wisdom, how wise and probably how sensible you are as a person, that in a way enhances of, or rather improves. But again, we cannot generalize it for everybody, you know. So these are the some of the cognitive and the physical changes which you see. Then coming to the old age, we do have, firstly, not necessarily a definition to define it, but definitely old age means something where, you are moving upward. So old age essentially is moving upward. So not necessarily trying to link it with just getting retired, but how are you moving upward? So there are again a lot many challenges which the old people also have to come across. So it could be, in terms of coping with, their retirement, could be widowhood, could be illnesses, even maybe, death in the family. So these are some of the challenges that old people have to cope up with. And but we really cannot define old age in the same stereotype way, or maybe the patent way of looking at old age, because old age now we see is something else. It's coming up with probably the brighter side, because we see people quite active, we see people quite energetic, we see them very, very competent, very, very creative. So yeah, they know how to keep themselves busy, they are also getting onto some new skills. So we really cannot go by the same stereotype way of defining it, or the same old patent way of looking at it. So but yes, they do have certain shortcomings where they need to perceive old age with a, certain viewpoint. So they all view retirement, if so to say, with their own view. So some look at it as something negative, some look at it as something positive, when we talk about retirement especially. So they have their own viewpoint even when it comes to looking at the retirement. And so of course, there is this feeling of depression, also hopelessness, which old people tend to sense, because they are very, very dependent, on their family members financially. Also, if you see, they get dependent, and for love, for care, for affection, for everything, they're so dependent. And at times, the family members move out, or maybe, they shift. So yes, there are uh, chances of getting into depression or feeling hopeless. So these could be the chances of, old people, of course. And when we talk about, essentially, how do they feel, so there is a sense of a loss of energy, and also we see their health declining, and of course, even financially not very secured, because they are actually in a way dependent. So it leads to feeling extremely insecure and dependent, because these are the basic feelings which old people do feel. And so what's important is that how we can really give these elderly people a sense of security and a sense of belongingness, a feeling that we do care for them, especially when it is the time of crisis, especially maybe when their health could be dwindling, or especially when they do not have enough financial assets, especially when they do not feel loved, or maybe they do not feel wanted. How can we really be there for them at those times? And to never forget, and to always remember that we all will also have to go through this stage. We all will also become old one day. We all will also feel lonely one day. So it is about what can I do in this moment, for our elderly people around me, not just confined to my own house, but even in my society. How can I contribute to these aged lives? So this was all about, the adulthood and old age. So with this, we finish the unit. Thank you so much, children.